afternoon. I'm the spokesperson, April Pan from CDF. I welcome all of you to join the Q4 2022 Investor Conference of CDF. There will be 5 parts in our today's agenda. First, we will invite Steve, our CEO, to introduce the performance in 2022 and the progress in ABCD strategies. And next, we will invite the presidents from the subsidiaries to update their progresses in the ABCD strategies. And the third part, we will invite our CFO, Jenny Huang, to talk about the financial performances. And the performance of the subsidiaries will be covered by the presidents in each subsidiary. And lastly, the QA session. And the QA session is the same with the previous conference. I will not talk about the details now. I'll give the floor to Steve.
Hello, everyone. Today I'd like to do two things. The first is to give you a brief update of our 2022 performance, and secondly, talk about the progress that we've made on our ABCD strategy. In terms of CDF, as you know, last year we managed to deliver steady financial performance despite the market volatility. We delivered $16.4 billion in profit with an EPS of 98 cents. We're ranked number 4 globally and number 1 in Taiwan by the Dow Jones Sustainability Index for the life insurance services sector. And last year, for the first time, CDF ranked number 2 in the financial holdings for top-down NPS relative to our competitors that also had insurance subsidiaries. And you'll hear in a moment that also 2 of our subsidiaries in particular made very strong progress in NPS as well. In terms of China Life, they delivered net income of $13.2 billion. The team remains focused on our high-value product strategy and increased market share of our regular paid policies. Our VNV grew by 1.4% year-on-year to $21.3 billion, despite a challenging market. The team also continued to maintain prudent investment management with pre-hedging recurring yield up 24 basis points up to 3.75. We also continue to have the lowest cost of liabilities, which is below 3%. In terms of KGI Bank, profits were up 45% year-on-year, up to $6.02 billion. We maintained a superior NIM of 1.39. The team continued to optimize our asset mix, and we saw strong growth in SME and personal loans, growing 22 and 20% respectively. Also, our consumer finance JV in China continues to do very well, delivering profits of 160 million RMB and doubling the size of their balance sheet. CDIB Capital had a small loss in 2022 due to the unrealized value of the market turmoil. They established 2 new funds, with new investments reaching $2.1 billion for the full year. Also, we saw green investment drawdowns of 500 million, with 8% year-on-year growth. And we also partnered with Honhai to explore renewable energy solutions for our Taiwanese SMEs, for their Taiwanese SMEs. KGI Securities, despite the drop in market volume, had a profit of $3.6 billion. They maintain their leading ECM and DCM positions and ranked number 1 consistently now for the last 10 years in both Taiwan Stock Exchange and OTC. Customer service and innovation were also awarded in the Gold Award in the first Taiwan Customer Service Center evaluation. I'd like to briefly now turn to update on our strategy. As most of you are familiar, we've had our ABCD strategy in place now for the last 2 years. It has 5 components, which are accelerate digital, become employer of choice, customer focus, driving growth, and execution excellence, with the goal in each one of those at the bottom of each chart, which is to become the best in class, to have a higher engagement, to become the most recommended, to exceed the industry, and to deliver. I want to briefly give you some highlights of the progress that we've made. In terms of digital, we've made a lot of progress in terms of developing new applications and focusing on customer journeys to design better experiences for our customers. On the employee side, we made very good progress over the last 2 years in our employee engagement scores. Initially, the first time we did it was 53, year before 61. This last year, we saw 68. Our goal here is to be in the 70 to 80% range, which is considered world-class. We also invested heavily in our teams and our staff. Over 1,000 people were trained in soft skills, and 400 people went through our leadership training. We further enhanced our KPIs this year to also make sure they're more aligned with the strategy. On customer focus, we made very strong progress on NPS. Not only did we enable all our channels, but we also moved from either number 5 or number 7 in our businesses to number 1 in both China Life and KGI Bank. And this year, we will focus on measuring and improving our digital NPS, which we think is very important for long-term competitiveness. We made good progress on our brand in terms of becoming the most recommended as a common objective across all our businesses, and also a common tagline of committed to your prosperity. On driving growth, we continue to make a lot of progress in terms of machine learning and cross-sell, getting 2 to 10 times better response rate as we utilize new tools. On execution excellence, we continue to work around our systems architecture to enable us to be more successful in digital, including cloud. We continue to automate many of our processes by using RPAs across the group. Our risk tools are much more enhanced to allow us to do better scenario planning and risk mitigation. And on ESG, as you're familiar, we've continued to exceed our KPIs. And also on the volunteering side, we saw a 50% increase in number of volunteering hours last year, up to 65,000. We're confident we have a strong operating system, and despite the market turbulence, we continue to make strong progress across every part of our strategy. The one area that we'd like to spend more energy on this year has been driving growth. Obviously, last year was quite challenging, but with the new tools and progress that have been made with the team, we're confident we'll see improvement in our growth during 2023. I'll now hand it over to China Life to get you an update from Stephanie.
I'm Stephanie Huang from China Life. I will share with you our progresses in ABCDE, and I will only cover 3 topics due to the time limitation. For digital, Accelerate Digital, in 2022, we launched the new app to provide a one-stop services to the customers. And the service accumulated to 760,000 in 2022, and the online service usage increased by 44%. We also received the recognition, and by receiving an award, we will continue to optimize the online service quality and continue to move forward. And secondly, about customer orientation, we adhere to a customer-centric approach in delivering our services. And China Life ranked number 1 in the industry according to an NPS survey conducted by a global renowned market research agency. Actually, in addition to customers' recognition of our service quality, we receive FSC's Treating Customer Fairly Principle Assessment for 4 consecutive years, and demonstrating our sustained leading position in the sector. And lastly, for driving growth, China Life continued to actively promote the sales of high-value products. In 2022, the FYP of high-value products reached 21 billion, and up by 54% year-on-year. And the market share rose from the 5th to the 3rd in the sector, and driving our VNB against all odds. And that is my update for the ABCDE strategies. Next, I'll hand over to Amy Cao. I'm from KGIB. Our strategic initiatives in 2022, I would like to share our achievements. And first, in Accelerate Digital, we provided 24/7 smart customer services online platform And the response are very positive from the customers. We will continue to refine the accuracy rate in responses and to improve the satisfactory from customer. And the second part is customer focus. We know the market is very volatile. We will move toward a stable wealth management bank. Starting from this year, we will focus on grow the AUM of our product of our customers. And the other topic is the NPS score. Last year, we invited a third party to help us to measure NPS score, and we ranked number 1 among the peers because we adopted NPS across 4 channels, including online and call centers. By constantly receiving the feedbacks from customers and improve our services to the customers, we receive the recognition from the customers. In driving growth in SME and P-loan, our year-on-year growth reached 22% and 20% respectively. And it can help us to improve the stickiness of our customers and can help us to move closer to our target customers. We will continue to work on the 2 areas. Lastly, about execution excellence, we promoted RPA in the last 3 years. By the end of last year, almost 97 RPM processes have been adopted by the bank. And every year we set a different goal for ourselves. We expect we can adopt more automatic processes to improve the efficiency. And that's our update in KGIB. Next, I'll hand over to CDIB. Good afternoon, I'm Melanie Nan from CDIB. I will share about the ABCD's strategy achievements in 2022. We still focus on the asset management and create synergy in the group in terms of accelerate digital and drive growth. We focus on potential opportunities and ecosystems to create partnerships. In 2022, we established VAK and AI MAC funds, and we collaborated with international AI vendors to create a platform. And we also deployed in ESG. The green investment increased 8% year on year. Like Steve mentioned, we also made an announcement we're going to collaborate with Foxconn in a green platform. And we also try to solve the green electricity demand from SMEs. In terms of the group synergy, we upstreamed 8 billion to our parent company and helped the group with an investment of 2 billion. Next, I'll hand over to William Fang in KGIS.
Dear investors and media, this is William Fang from KGIS. Now I will give you an overview on our progress in ABCD strategy. In terms of accelerate digital, through the online signature service, we led ahead of our peers and launched the online transaction limit adjustment service. Previously, the customer needed to visit their original branch to do the service. And now, through a single app from KGIS, they are able to make a reservation and do the online transaction limit adjustment service. And we will also going to extend our service to the elderly customer through the digital services. And in terms of customer-centric, we have received the honor of the first place by the Taiwan Customer Service Center evaluation. And through the traditional email and phone service, we have also enabled the LINE intelligent smart service. Customers are able to choose the most suitable tools that they want to gain the service from our side, and we, as a result, were honored with the Gold Award of the Taiwan Customer Service Center. Among the 193 other security houses, we received such an honor. In terms of driving growth, KGIS has been proactively assisting and supporting premium corporates to enter the capital markets, and we have taken the first place of market share in the ECM market for 10 consecutive years. KGIS official LINE account is tailored based on customers' attributes. We provide business intelligence, order results, and all the customers' customized services. In last August, we also launched different charities campaign, such as the LINE stickers, and this has granted us more than 1.3 million of followers online. And now I will hand over to Jenny, our CFO. This is Jenny Huang, the CFO of CDF. I will now cover the performance results. In 2022, our income is 10.6 billion from China Life, and KGI Bank gained 5.9 billion, CDIB see a net loss of 0.5 billion, while KGIS gained 3.4 billion. And the following charts is a comparison of 2021 and 2022's net income, excluding the one-off profit of from the disposal of the old building, which is 8 billion. We can see the difference is that, for example, China Life, the market turbulence affected its performance. There is a decrease of 2.9 billion in the recognized income. And the reason is that first, CDF now recognized 100% of China Life, and last year the recognition was only 56%. And as mentioned, the profits in China Life has decreased in 2022. As for KGIB, their performance has upped quite significantly. They have contributed over 47%, which is about 1.8 billion in net income. As for CDIB Capital, due to the market turbulence, they also see a net loss of 2 billion. And KGIS, due to the transaction volume drop significantly, and also the decline in the stock and bond markets, they see a loss of 7 billion in their net income. And next, the total assets of CDF rose to 3.5 trillion, up 2% year on year. Our financial assets grew 3.6%, and our loans grew 5%. As for provision, the attributable equity has down 84 billion, which is a 29% decrease. This is mainly coming from the OCI impact. As for deposits, it has grown 9.5%, As for provision, it is also up 5%. Next, CDF's leverage ratio in end of 2022, it has rose to 16.9%. This is also due to the decrease in our net worth. Our 2022 ROE is 6.5%. And next page. The actual business is coming from our subs, and if we look into the breakdown of our capital ratio of the subsidiaries, they are very stable. CDF's double leverage ratio is at 128% above the legal threshold of 125%. This is due to the decrease in our net worth from the impact of our OCI, and we have made quite a lot of supervision and monitoring in our risk and the control mechanism in order to decrease the impact on our net worth. And next, I will hand over to Stephanie for China Life's part. Please refer to page 18 for China Life. Here in 2022, due to markets rate hike as well as the fluctuation in the overall market, the net income of China Life came at 13.2 billion. The net worth ratio is 4.75%, ROE 9.28%, and the total asset rose at 2.3 trillion. And moving on, in China Life's FYP reached 7.1 billion, although it is a decline year on year, but the sales momentum mainly came from the high value products. Therefore, you can see that our FYPE has reached 27.1 billion, up 17%. And this is we are the only lifer in the market to see a double-digit growth. In our FYPE ratio is 39, also ranked the first. In terms of our distribution channels, we still maintain a balanced development. We focus on high-value policies. And I would like to highlight the bancassurance channels. We continue to see some results in the product transformation. For example, the life products ranging along above 6 tiers, the sales amount has reached up to 10.6 billion. We are also ranked number 1 among the markets. Comparing to the previous year, we have seen a growth of 75%. And next. Since we continue to optimize our product mix, our VNB has amounted to 21.3 billion, up 1.8%. And the sales of high value products also drove up our VNB margin from 29% to 38% this year. In terms of assets and liability, China Life's investment return reached 3.91% in 2022, and the cost of liability was 2.98%, maintaining a very stable and positive spread. Our cost of liability is the lowest among our peers. And next page. In terms of asset liability management, China Life focuses on the long-term recurring income. In addition to seizing the investment opportunities in the rising interest rate environments, we continue to invest in foreign bonds with better yields, and we also focus on stocks with high yields and stable profits in the long run. And moving on to the next page. Through prudent asset allocation, China Life maintains a very stable recurring yield. And to reflect the increase in the yield of new money, the annual pre-hedging recurring yield came at 3.75%, and it has up 24 bips year on year. In terms of hedging structure and hedging costs, China Life has long adopted a sound hedging portfolio, and resulting from the USD appreciation, the hedging cost was at 0.64%, down 54 bips year on year, and the FX reserve balance has also increased to 10.89 billion. And this is the overview of China Life. I will now hand over to KGIB's Amy. Thank you. In 2022, our net income is 6.02 billion and grew quite significantly. Our NIM improved 6 basis points year on year. On the lower left hand side, by Q3, our NIM grew gradually, but by Q4, due to the cost of FX increase, although we still maintain a upward trend of interest spread, but our net interest margin, since we have some fixed income position, our NIM declined slightly. And in 2022, in terms of spread, we grew 16 basis points, but for NIM, we have only grown 6 bips. The next page, in terms of our assets, loan and deposits, in Q4 last year, our deposits grew to 543 billion. And this year, we hope to continue to grow our deposits and to align with our loan mix. The total loan for the last year also grew, but our deposit actually grew higher than our loans. And now I'll hand over to CDIB. Please refer to page 27. In 2022, our fee income is about 600 million. Comparing to last year, it was up 7.5%. In addition to the fee income, our investment is also a key income. And due to the adoption of IFRS rule, we need to mark-to-market our position. And in 2022, the first half of the year, stock market tumbled, so our valuation also saw a decrease. And in the next half, we still see some unrealized loss. And our performance in investment is still maintained at about 4.6%. And in the lower chart, we have upstream 8 billion to our parent company. So in our total equity, we saw a decline. In the next page, CIB's main business still are in two parts: is asset management and principal investment. In 2022, we focus on principal investment. Our asset management scale has grew from 48.4 billion to 50.6 billion, and we have position in USD, Taiwan, and China. And for our investment partner, we have invested more than 50% in our Taiwanese partner. As for the principal investment, by 2022, our investment amounts reach out to 30.2 billion. And due to the valuation impact, we have seen a decrease in our book. However, our increased investment in Taiwan still grew quite significantly, and the momentum is good. And we have seen growth in our Hong Kong's private equity business. And in addition to that, there is no new position added. And now I'll hand over to KGIS.
Please go to page 30, going to the upper left corner. The Net income is 945 million, full year 3.6 billion. There are two main reasons for the decline. In 2021, our China Life position has been transitioned. Therefore, we do not recognize gain and loss from China Life. Second, compared to 2022, there are several factors. The first is the Russian-Ukraine war, inflation, and the pandemic. Therefore, the transaction dropped. Our position and the transaction became difficult. And our overseas profit accounts for 11%, around 400 million. And Singapore in 2022 had a great performance. It reached record high, and the brokerage business continues to grow, and market share also reached a new high. It climbed to number 2 in the market, and future business also grew as well. Lower left corner is the ROE and compared to the industry average. As you can see, compared to industry average, we're about the same. And on the other side, our AUM climbed back a little bit in the fourth quarter, but if we look on quarter, there is a drop because of the market conditions. Now let's move on to page 31st. For our net revenue mix is 2.7 billion. Because of market fluctuation, our investment income dropped in the first 2 quarters but climbed back up in the fourth quarter, and our commission remains stable. And if we look at the revenue movement, because of market condition and transaction, there is an impact. But our drop in brokerage commission is better than industry average. And we continue to focus on optimizing digital experience. It is reflected in our customer satisfaction rate and our market share on digital channel. Our brokerage market share is 10.4, number 2 in the market, and for other businesses, we are also top 1 or 2. And our strength is EUM. For 10 consecutive years, we are number 1 in the market. These are some of the figures I want to share with you. Now I'll pass the floor back to April. Thank you all for your presentation and sharing. Now is the Q&A session. First, let's welcome analysts. For those that have a question, please raise your hand on WebEx, and then we will invite you to speak. Let's welcome Jamie from JP Morgan. Jamie, you may proceed. Thank you for accepting my question. For the bank, can you elaborate NIM's outlook, because it dropped last year, second half last year. So what's the full year outlook? Is it possible there will be any improvement this year? And for loan, what's the objective this year? And what's the focus this year? And then for China Life, our RBC, it dropped 45 bits. What's the main reason? And is there also downside risk this year? In addition, for FX reserve, in the new scheme, what is the upper limit based on the new scheme? And what's the impact on our hedging cost? And for COL, cost of liability, if FYP return back to normal and declare rates go up more, is it possible that COL will also increase? And although there is no AT1 exposure, in addition to CS, for capital instrument AT1, is there any position? And if yes, how big is the position? And what's the reason? Last is regarding CDF. Because double leverage ratio go over the limits for the regulation, can we use capital reserve to give out dividends? If not, are there anything that we can do? Are there special items that we can release so that we can pay out dividend? So this is my question. Thank you. Thank you, JV Morgan's question. Now I would like to invite Amy to respond regarding NIM. In the fourth quarter, there are some challenges. For the first quarter, although there are big changes in the market, but our target this year, we want to maintain as 1.39, same as last year. This is our goal for this year. Now let's welcome China Life, Jay, Head of Actuary. Hi, I am Jay. Your questions are very professional. For RBC 2021-2022, we dropped 45%. There are two main reasons. First, because for interest rate risk, there are some legal changes, regulation changes, therefore it had a huge impact. Another factor, the stock market plummeted, the unrealized loss also had an impact. So these are the two main factors affecting our RBC. And for COL, indeed, because of the overall market changes and rate hikes, our declare rate for new policies now is at a certain level. Whether it will increase or not, it depends on the market. But overall speaking, just like what Stephanie said, we are still the lowest compared to our peers. And we continue to maintain a positive spread. So our expectation is that moving forward, we will be at an advantage place and maintain a stable and positive spread. Now I will pass the mic to our head of investment. Hi, I am Lauren. Regarding FX reserve, the new scheme, after calculation, now our balance hasn't reached the upper limit. For our hedging cost, after calculation, it can drop around 25 bips. For AT1 exposure, it's very limited. It's less than 1%, and the distribution is also very diverse. In Europe, it's even smaller, just even smaller than 0.01%. Hi, I am Jenny. Regarding double leverage ratio, exceeding 125%, it won't affect the dividend payout using capital reserve and earning reserves. Any other questions? Please raise your hand on WebEx and we will invite you to speak. Now let's welcome Tina. Tina, you may speak. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. First, regarding dividends, So we will be able to use reserve to give out dividend. That's the first question. Second, regarding the bank, the loan outlook. And number 3, regarding China Life. Last year, the cash dividend income and the outlook this year, and also the outlook for recurring yield this year. Last, regarding China Life, FYP, VNB expectation this year. Thank you. Thank you, Tina, for your questions. For CDF, now let's welcome Jenny to answer your question. Regarding cash dividend payout, our capital reserve is around 30 billion. According to regulation, we can use it to give out dividend, but in this regard, it will be discussed in our board meeting in April and May. And the second question regarding bank, now let's welcome Amy to answer the question regarding our outlook, loan outlook. Last year and in 2021, we increased 5%, but most importantly, over the past years, we are adjusting our loan structure. Last year, for big corporation, it takes up half, and for SME and personal loan, it grew by 2 digits. This year, the outlook is to move towards the same direction. We would not increase our loan a lot, but we will continue to optimize our loan mix. Next, let's welcome Lauren to answer your question regarding China Life. First, for a dividend last year for TW stock is around 7 billion. And this year we will continue to try our best to increase our dividend income. But because of market fluctuation, we will be prudent regarding our stock position. And for recurring yield outlook, because of rate hike, recurring yield, we will try to maintain at last year's level. In face of volatile market, we will be very cautious in terms of our investment, but of course maintaining our yield is one of our focuses. Hi, I am Jay. Regarding FYP expectation, you know that because the premium income has been affected by the market, especially for ILP. However, last year, although FYP declined, just like what Stephanie said, we continue to shift our focus to high-value products. So overall speaking, the direction remains the same. Our FYP expectation will still slightly grow compared to last year, and we will continue to focus on high-value product. So we are cautiously optimistic. And the second part, compared to our peers, last year we grew 1.8% in terms of BNB, and if we continue to focus on high-value product, BNB will also grow slightly. Any other questions from analysts and institutional investors? Now let's welcome Cafe Future. Michael, you may proceed.
Hello, I'm Michael. I want to know more about the hedging cost of the foreign reserve. Your mention about your strategy change may reduce your hedging cost. about 25 bips. I read the material. The regulation is the accumulated limit will be relaxed. In the traditional currency swap hedging cost, there is an offset mechanism. I do not understand why this can help you to reduce your overall hedging cost. Can you elaborate? Thank you. Thanks for your question. We will invite Lauren, the Chief Investor Officer from China Life, to answer your question. Of course, from the clause, it will be very confusing because the FX reserve is complicated. In the traditional hedging side, from this rule, the traditional hedging cost and the current cost, if we compare them together, we can use part of the foreign reserve to help us reduce the current hedging cost. But the actual calculation is very complicated, so I will not talk about the detail. If you want to know more, I can provide you, or I can explain it to you after the conference. Okay, next question. Zhang Xiaoying from Final Pack. Xiaoying, you can speak. About this dividend for the special shares, do you need to change your company charter to issue the dividend? Thank you. Jenny Huang, our CFO, will answer the question. I'll briefly answer your question. Since the regulation regulates about the special, the preferred shares can only come from the revenue. Now we have the additional paid-in capital, so for the preferred shared, for the special reserve, it's not applicable to the law. That's all. If there's any question, you can raise your hand. Michael from Cathay Futures. Sorry, I already asked my question. Are there any questions from the corporate investors? If no, we'll move to the next session. Now we'll welcome all the media friends to ask questions. If you have any questions, please use the raise your hand function in WebEx. Let's invite Chen Xingwen from Commercial News Report. Xingwen, please. Xingwen, we cannot hear you. Xingwen, you need to accept unmute. Okay. We can hear you now. I would like to confirm for the preferred shares, you can only use your surplus, so you cannot issue dividend for preferred shares. And in the I don't hear any KGI sites financial figures. For your overall dividend policy, about the percentage, are you going to maintain the same strategy in the past? Thank you. You talk about the preferred shares. We'll invite our CEO to answer your question.
Yeah, so first of all, our commitment is always to maintain a consistent dividend policy. However, as you're aware, because of the market turbulence, it impacted our net worth last year. There has been some regulatory relief provided, which we're considering for common shareholders. But I think as Jenny clarified, based on the rules, we cannot use that for preferred shareholders.
Thank you. The second question is about KGI site. We will invite William Fang, our president in KGIS, to answer your question. Thank you. KGI site, the profit of the company is steadily growing. Last year is around 100 million NT dollar. And this year, the company will continue to issue equity-related products. These kind of products, the margin is relatively higher. As we launch new products, we believe the profit will steadily grow this year. Thank you. Are there other questions? I will invite Xia Shuzhen from Economic Daily. As for the dividend for common shares, your CFO mentioned the double leverage ratio exceed the limit. It will not impact you use the additional paid-in capital to pay dividend. But previously, I understood that the FSC they have certain regulation about the double leverage ratio and the other indicator. Do you need to specially communicate with the FSC to issue dividend, or did you already receive a approval from the FSC to issue dividend? Because you already exceed the double leverage ratio limit, if you use the additional paid-in capital, it will also impact your net worth and other financial indicators. Does it mean this year's distribution percentage will not be as high as in the past years? That's all. Thank you. I will answer your question. Our double leverage ratio or other financial indicators are not looking good due to the market volatility. And these indicators are the factors we need to consider when we decided to issue dividend. Even though in terms of regulation we can use the additional paid-in capital, but the company will also consider our own soundness in our financial performances. That's all. Are there other questions? And thank you for all your questions. And today's investor conference has ended. You can find our recordings and download the materials from today's conference. If you have other questions, you can email or call us to discuss. And lastly, thank you again to joining today's meeting. Wish you all well. Thank you.